The big meeting room on Station Alpha 7 was full of aliens. They sat in their special chairs, talking in their strange languages. Some had 4 arms, others had skin like rocks. A few looked like giant bugs with shiny shells. Quan walked into the room. He was the only human there. His black suit looked plain next to all the fancy alien clothes. The talking stopped. All eyes turned to look at him. "They are coming," Quan said. His voice was calm but serious. "The Void Hunters are moving toward human space. We need help." A tall alien with blue skin laughed. "Humans always worry too much," it said. "You have been in space for only 200 years. We have been here for thousands." Another alien, this one looking like a walking tree, shook its leafy head. "The Void Hunters are just space pirates, nothing more. Your ships are weak, that is why you lose." Quan's hands made fists, but he kept his face calm. "You do not understand. These are not pirates. They eat planets. They turn everything into nothing. 3 of our worlds are already gone." "Gone?" The blue alien laughed again. "You mean taken? Humans give up too easy." More aliens joined in the laughing. They thought humans were soft, weak, new to space and scared of everything. Quan pulled out a small device. A picture appeared in the air above it. It showed a planet. Green grass, blue water, white clouds, beautiful and alive. "This was New Hope," Quan said, "home to 50 million humans." The picture changed. Now it showed empty space, no planet. Number. Sun, just darkness. "This is New Hope now," Quan said. They did not just take it. They made it disappear. Like it never existed. The room got quiet. Some aliens looked worried now, but the blue one just waved a hand. "Trick pictures," it said. "Humans love to make things look worse than they are." Quan showed more pictures, more dead systems. More empty space where planets used to be. Each time, the aliens found reasons not to believe. Then Harin walked in. She was small and quiet, with old books in her arms. Her hair was tied back, and her clothes were dusty from digging in ruins. "Tell them about the old writings," Quan said to her. Har and put her books on the table. She opened one to a page covered in strange marks. "I study the precursor ruins. The race that came before all of you, they left warnings." She pointed to the marks on the page. "This talks about the flame that burns in the dark. It says this flame will fight when the darkness comes back." The tree alien made a sound like wind through leaves. "Old stories, nothing real." Harin turned more pages. "Here it calls them the species that remembers, and here the last guard of the silent war. What does that mean?" asked the small alien. "That looked like a mouse." "The writings are about humans," Harin said. "They knew we would come. They knew we would fight." The blue alien stood up. "Crazy talk. Humans are babies. You just learned to fly between stars. The precursors died before your son was born." More aliens started talking loudly. They called Harin's work fake. They said humans were making up stories to get attention. Quan tried to speak again. "Please, listen to us. The Void Hunters are real. They are coming for all of us, not just humans." "No," said the leader of the meeting. It was a huge alien that looked like a crystal. Its voice rang like a bell. "The council has decided. Humans will get no help. You must fight alone." "But," Quan started. "The decision is final," the crystal alien said. "This meeting is over." One by one, the aliens left the room. Some looked sorry. Others seemed happy. A few just looked bored. Soon, only Quan and Harin were left. "They do not believe us," Harin said sadly. She closed her books. Quan looked out the big window at the stars. "They think we are weak. They think we are nothing." Harin picked up her books. "The old writings say something else. They say humans are dangerous when they fight alone." "Dangerous?" Quan asked. "The precursors were afraid of something. All their warnings talk about a fire that never goes out. A species that becomes something else when it has to." Quan pulled out his communication device. His fingers moved over the buttons. Then he sent a message to Earth. The message was short, just a few words. "Initiate Protocol Lazarus. They have forgotten who we are. Time to remind them." Harin looked At him. What is Protocol Lazarus? Quinn's eyes were hard now. Cold like space, something we hoped we would never need again. Far away, on Earth and its moons, old machines started to wake up. Lights began to glow in places that had been dark. For a very long time, deep under the ground, things that had been sleeping began to move. The galaxy had said no to humanity. They had laughed at the warnings. They had forgotten the old stories, but some things should not be forgotten, and some fires never really go. Out in the quiet meeting room, Kwon looked at the stars one more time. They wanted us to fight alone, he said quietly. They are about to learn why that was a mistake. Haran felt something cold move down her back. The old writings talked about humans being guardians, protectors, but they also said something else. They said humans were the most dangerous thing in the galaxy when they had nothing left to lose. The Void Hunters were coming, and humanity was about to remember what they really were. Jinha was working deep inside an asteroid when the lights came on. He had been fixing mining machines for 10 years. The asteroid was called Rock 7. It was far from Earth, cold and empty, just rocks and metal. Nothing special, but when the lights came on, Jinha saw he was wrong. The lights were not normal lights. They were blue and bright. They came from walls he had never seen before. The walls were smooth and dark like black glass. They had been hidden behind fake rock walls. What is this? Jinha said to himself. He touched one of the walls. It felt warm. Pictures appeared on it, pictures of ships, big ships. Ships that looked like nothing he had ever seen. Then a voice spoke. It was a woman's voice, calm and clear. Protocol Lazarus is active, the voice said. Welcome home, Guardian. Guardian? Jinha looked around. I am not a guardian. I am a miner. You are Jinha Park, son of Minho Park, grandson of Sungwoo Park? Your family has kept the secret for 3 generations. Jinha's mouth opened. His grandfather had told him stories, strange stories about old wars and hidden things. Jinha had thought they were just stories. The Void Hunters have returned, the voice said. It is time to remember. The floor under Jinha's feet began to move. It was not a floor, it was a platform. It carried him down into the asteroid. What he saw made his heart stop. Ships, hundreds of ships. They were huge and black. Like sleeping giants. They had been hidden inside the asteroid for so long that Jinha could not guess how many years. The Lazarus Fleet, the voice said. Built during the last war, hidden when the war ended, waiting for the day they would be needed again. Jinha walked between the ships. They were beautiful and terrible. Their metal was dark like the space. Between stars, strange symbols were carved into their sides. Why were they hidden? Jinha asked. Because the galaxy forgot. They forgot what humans really were. They forgot the price we paid to save them. One of the ships was smaller than the others. It looked like it was made for Jinha. When he got close, a door opened. The Starfire, the voice said. Your grandfather's ship. Now it is yours. Jinha walked inside. The ship felt alive. Lights came on as he moved. The walls hummed with power. On the bridge, he found a chair that fit him perfectly. When he sat down, the ship's mind spoke to him. Hello, Jinha? I have been waiting for you. Waiting for me? I do not know how to fly a warship. You will learn. It is in your blood. All around the solar system, other hidden places were waking up. On the dark side of the moon, huge doors opened. Ships rose from underground bases. They were ships the galaxy had never seen. On Mars, Haran was in her office when the walls began to change. She was reading more old books when the floor under. Her feet became clear like glass. Below, she could see machines, huge machines that had been sleeping under the planet. The archives, a voice said. Haran jumped. She was not alone anymore. An old woman stood behind her. The woman looked like Haran but older. Much older? Who are you? Haran asked. I am Li Hayoung. I was the first keeper. I have been waiting in the machine mines for this day. Keeper of what? The truth, the real history. The history the galaxy made us forget. Hayoung showed Haran. New books? These books were not made of paper. They were made of light. The words floated in the air. Long ago, humans were not miners and farmers, Hayoung said. We were warriors. We fought a war against the darkness itself. Haran read the light words. They told a story that made her afraid. They told of a time when things from the void between galaxies came to destroy all life. They told of how young humanity stood alone against them. We won, Hayoung said. But the price was terrible. We had to become something else. Something the galaxy feared. What did we become? Death itself. We became the thing that destroys destroyers. We became the fire that burns in the endless dark. On Earth, Quan stood in a room deep under the ocean. The room was full of screens. Each screen showed a different part of space. On some screens he could see the Void Hunters moving. They were not ships, they were living things. Huge and black, they moved through space like sharks through water. Where they went, stars went out. Planets disappeared. How many? Quan asked. Thousands, said the woman next to him. She was old and wore a uniform Quan had never seen before. Maybe more. They are moving faster now. Why now? Why come back now? Because they know. Somehow, they know we are weak. They know we forgot. How to fight? Quan watched the screens. The Void Hunters were getting closer to human space. Soon they would reach the outer colonies. How long do we have? Days, maybe weeks. On the screens, Quan could see human ships trying to fight the Void Hunters. They were the ships the galaxy knew about. Small ships, weak ships. The Void Hunters destroyed them easily, but then other ships appeared on the screens. Dark ships. Fast ships, ships that moved like shadows. The Lazarus Fleet, the old woman said. They are waking up. Jinha was learning to fly the Starfire. The ship taught him as they moved through space. It was not like learning to drive a car, it was like learning to be the car. Feel the dark between stars, the ship said. We are made. From it, we are part of it. Jinha felt something change inside him. He was still human, but he was also something more. Something that had been sleeping in his blood for generations. The first Void Hunter he met was the size of a moon. It had tentacles like black snakes and eyes that burned with cold fire. It saw the Starfire and moved to destroy it. Jinha did not think. He acted. The Starfire became part of him. He became part of it. Together, they moved through space like a knife through water. The Void Hunter tried to grab them. But Jinha was not there anymore. He was everywhere and nowhere. He was the darkness between its tentacles. When the Void Hunter died, it made no sound. It just stopped being. How did I do that? Jinha asked. You remembered, the ship said. You remembered what you really are? All across human space, the same thing was happening. Humans who had been miners and farmers and teachers were becoming something else. They were becoming what they had always been, deep inside. The galaxy had forgotten, but the blood remembers everything. Haran found the truth in a place that should not have existed. She was on a dead planet called Kepler 7. The planet had no air and no life. Just old ruins that looked like broken teeth against the black sky. But when she touched the biggest ruin, everything changed. The broken stones began to glow. They moved by themselves, building themselves back up. In minutes, Haran was standing in front of a huge building that had been destroyed long ago. Welcome, Keeper, said a voice. It came from everywhere and nowhere. Haran walked inside. The walls were covered with pictures. But these were not normal pictures. They moved like movies. They showed things that happened long, long ago. The first picture showed Earth when it was young. Humans lived in caves and hunted with stone tools. They were weak and small. Then the picture changed. Something came from the dark space between stars. It was huge and hungry. It ate everything, plants, animals, even the rocks themselves. The first darkness, the voice said. It came when your people were still learning to make fire. Haran watched as the hungry thing destroyed world after world. It moved through space like a disease, killing everything it touched. What stopped it? Haran asked. The picture showed humans again, but these humans were different. They stood taller. Their eyes burned with cold fire. In their hands they held weapons made of light and shadow. Your people changed, the voice said. They became what they needed to become. The moving picture showed the war. It was terrible and beautiful. Humans fought the darkness with their bare hands. They turned themselves into living weapons. They became death itself. We won, Harin said quietly. Yes, but the price was everything. Your people saved the galaxy, but they scared everyone else. After the war, the other races asked humans to forget, to become normal again, and we said yes. Your leaders thought it was best. They hid the truth. They made everyone forget. Even humans forgot what they really were. Harin saw more pictures. They showed humans putting away their weapons. They showed the great ships being hidden. They showed the truth being buried so deep that only a few people remembered. But the Void Hunters are the same enemy, Harin said. Yes, they are what came back when the first darkness died. They are its children. Far away, Jinha was learning this same truth. His ship, the Starfire, was teaching him as they flew through space. Why do I feel so angry? Jinha asked. Every time I see a Void Hunter, I want to destroy it. Because they killed your world before, the Starfire said. What do you mean? Earth was not your first home. Your people came from a world called Terra Prime. The Void Hunters ate it billions of years ago. Jinha felt cold. That is impossible. Humans are older than you think. Your people have been fighting this war for so long that you forgot it started. The ship showed Jinha pictures in his mind. He saw a world of blue oceans and green lands. He saw cities that reached toward the stars. He saw people who looked like humans but were stronger, faster, smarter. Terra Prime, Jinha said. Your first home. The Void Hunters destroyed it, but some humans escaped. They found Earth. They started over. Why did we not remember? Because remembering hurt too much, your people chose to forget. They chose to be normal, but now the memory was coming back. All across human space, people were remembering things they had never learned. They were remembering how to fight enemies that should not exist. On Earth, Quan was in the deep ocean base, watching the war. The Lazarus fleet was fighting the Void Hunters in space. The battle was like nothing anyone had ever seen. Human ships moved like ghosts. They appeared from nowhere and disappeared just as fast. When they fired their weapons, Void Hunters did not just die. They stopped existing. How are we winning? Quan asked the old woman. Because this is what humans were made for, she said. You think humans evolved to hunt animals and gather plants. But that is not true. What did we evolve for? To kill gods. The woman showed Quan more screens. On them, he could see human soldiers fighting on planets. But these soldiers were not normal. They moved too fast. They were too strong. They fought with their hands and won against enemies with claws and teeth. The Void Hunters change people, the woman said. They turn living things into monsters. But humans are different. When we change, we become something the monsters fear. Quan watched a human soldier grab a Void Hunter with his bare hands. The monster was 3 times bigger than the human, but when the human touched it, the monster screamed and turned to dust. What is he doing? Quan asked. What humans do best. He is making death touch something that thought it could not die. On the planet where Harin stood, the moving pictures showed her the end of the First War. Humans had won, but they were not human anymore. They had become something that scared even their friends. The other races were afraid of us, Harin said. Yes, they saw what humans became when they had to fight. They saw that humans could become anything they needed to be. That scared them more than the darkness. So we agreed to forget. Your leaders thought it was the right thing to do. They thought peace was more important than truth. But Harin knew the truth now. The old writings were not stories. They were history. Humans were not the young race everyone thought they were. They were the oldest race, the first race. The race that all others learned from. The galaxy thinks we are babies, Harin said, but you are their parents. You taught them how to make fire. You showed them the stars. You protected them from things they could not imagine. Jinha felt the same truth flowing through him as he fought another Void Hunter. This one was bigger than a city. It had 1,000 mouths full of sharp teeth. But when Jinha looked at it, he did not see a monster, he saw prey. The starfire moved through the monster like it was made of smoke. Jinha did not fire weapons, he did something else. He reached out with his mind and touched the monster's heart. The monster stopped moving. It looked confused, then it looked afraid. "You remember us now?" Jinha said quietly. The monster tried to run. But it was too late. Jinha had touched it, and his touch carried death for things that should not exist. All across the galaxy, the same thing was happening. Humans were remembering. They were becoming what they had always been inside, the void. Hunters had come to destroy a young race that did not know how to fight. Instead, they had woken up the thing that had killed their parents long ago. The silent war was starting again, and this time, humanity would not forget who they were. The heart of the galaxy was dying. Jinha could see it from his ship. The center of everything, where all the stars were born, was turning black. The Void Hunters had built something there. Something huge and hungry. "What is that thing?" Jinha asked his ship. "The final mouth," the starfire said. "They want to eat the galaxy from the inside out." Around Jinha, 1,000 human ships moved through space. They were dark and silent, like shadows with teeth. The Lazarus fleet had come to end this war once and for all. Behind them came other ships. Ships from every race in the galaxy. The same aliens who had laughed at Quan were now begging humans to save them. On Station Alpha 7, Quan stood in the same meeting room where it all started. But now he was not alone. The room was full of alien leaders. They looked scared. "Please," said the blue alien who had laughed before. "Our worlds are dying. Our people are gone. You have to help us." The tree alien was there too. Half its leaves had fallen off. "We were wrong. We did not know. We did not understand." Quan looked at them all. These were the same beings who had called humans weak, who had said humans were too young to understand the galaxy. "Now you want our help," Quan said. "Yes," said the crystal alien. Its voice was quiet now, not loud like before. "We know what you are now. We know what you have always been." "And what are we?" The crystal alien's light grew dim. "You are the guardians. You are the fire that burns in the dark. You are the ones who die so others can live." Quan nodded slowly. "Yes, that is what we are." He looked out the window at the stars. Some of them were going out. The darkness was spreading. "But you forgot that," Quan said. "You made us forget too." "We were afraid," the blue alien said. "After the first war, we saw what humans became. We saw the fire in your eyes. We thought if you forgot, you would be safe." "We would be safe." "Fear," Quan said. "You were afraid of us." Yes, Quan was quiet for a long time. Then he spoke to his communication device. "All human ships. This is command. Begin final attack." In space, Jinha heard the order. Around him, the human fleet moved forward. They did not move like normal ships. They moved like hunting animals. Like wolves closing in on prey. The Void Hunters were waiting for them. There were millions of them. They filled the space around the galaxy's heart like a black cloud. "So many," Jinha said. "Does it matter?" asked the starfire. Jinha thought about it. Did it matter how many enemies there were? Did it matter that they were bigger and stronger? No. Jinha said, "It does not matter." Why? Because we are human. The first Void Hunter to reach them was the size of a moon. It had tentacles that could crush planets. Its mouth could swallow stars. Jinha flew straight at it. The monster tried to grab him. But Jinha was not there anymore. He was inside the monster. The starfire cut through its flesh like it was made of paper. "How?" the monster asked as it guide. "How are you so strong?" "Because we have something you do not," Jinha said. "What?" "We choose to fight." All around the galaxy's heart, the same thing was happening. Human ships were cutting through the Void Hunter fleet like knives through cloth. But it was not just the ships. It was the humans inside them. Haran was on a planet where the Void Hunters had landed. They were trying to eat the planet's core. But human soldiers were there too. These soldiers did not look like the humans the galaxy knew. They were taller, stronger. Their eyes burned with cold fire. They moved like death itself. Haran watched one soldier walk up to a void hunter that was as big as a building. The monster tried to bite him. The soldier caught its jaws with his bare hands. "You forgot something," the soldier said to the monster. "What?" the monster asked. "Humans are not prey. We are the thing that hunts the hunters." The monster turned to dust in the soldier's hands. Haran felt something change inside her too. She was not a soldier. She was a scientist. But when a void hunter came for her, she did not run. She reached out with her mind and touched it. The monster screamed and disappeared. "I remember now," Haran said quietly. "I remember what we are." At the heart of the galaxy, the final mouth was opening. It was bigger than anything that had ever existed. When it opened completely, it would eat everything, but Jinha and the human fleet were almost there. "All ships," Jinha said into his radio. "Remember what our grandfather's grandfather's grandfather died for. Remember what we chose to forget. Remember what we really are." "We remember," came the answer from 1,000 human voices. The final mouth saw them coming. It sent its children to stop them. Millions of void hunters rushed toward the human fleet. Jinha closed his eyes. He felt the fire inside him. The fire that had burned since the first human looked at the stars and decided to reach for them. "We are the children of Terra Prime," Jinha said. "We are the ones who said no to the dark. We are the fire that burns forever." The human fleet hit the void hunter army like a hammer hitting glass. It was not a battle. It was an ending the void hunters had expected to fight young humans, weak humans. Humans who did not know how to war. Instead, they met the thing that had killed the first darkness. They met the species that had been born in the space between stars. They met the guardians who had never really stopped guarding. Jinha reached the final mouth. It was so big he could not see the end of it. But size did not matter. Not to humans. He flew the starfire straight into the mouth center. "What are you doing?" the mouth asked. Its voice shook the stars. "What humans do," Jinha sighed. "We die so others can live." But Jinha did not die. Instead, something wonderful happened. The fire inside him spread to the starfire. The fire spread from the starfire to the final mouth. The mouth began to burn, not with normal fire, with the fire that burns in human hearts. The fire that says no to the dark. The fire that chooses to fight even when fighting is impossible. The final mouth screamed. Then it died. All across the galaxy, every void hunter stopped moving. They looked up at the sky and saw something that made them afraid. They saw humans. Remembering who they were, one by one, the void hunters began to disappear, not because they were killed, because they chose to leave. They had learned the same lesson their ancestors learned long ago. Some things are too dangerous to hunt. Back on Station Alpha 7, Quan stood with the alien leaders. They were watching the stars come back to life. "It is over," the crystal alien said. "For now," Quan said. "Will you forget again?" asked the blue alien. "Will you go back to being normal?" Quan looked at the alien for a long time. Then he smiled. It was not a nice smile. "No," Quan said. "We will not forget again." The galaxy wanted to know what humans are. "Now you know. What are you?" The tree alien asked quietly. "We are the fire that burns in the dark," Quan said. "We are the guardians who never sleep. We are the thing that stands between you and the night." He looked out at the stars. "We are human. And we remember everything." In space, Jinha flew his ship home. The war was over. The galaxy was safe, but humans would not forget again. They would not pretend to be weak. They would not hide what they were. They were the children of the stars, the guardians of the light, the fire that burns forever, and the galaxy would never forget their name again.